Hello and welcome to Under Construction, Restoring the Whole Woman. I am your host, Cynthia Martin, here with my beautiful co-host, Sonia Marie, and we are her conscious life experts and holistic thriving advocates, helping you become healed, empowered, and restored. This is a weekly broadcast where we share unconventional wellness ideas and courageous conversations about perseverance, authenticity, and reclaiming our power as modern mindful women. Thank you and welcome back, everyone. Hi, Sonia.
Hello.
So this is part 2. That's why we're wearing the same outfit. So don't get crazy commenting, all right? Remember, be nice to us, okay? We're just here. We're advocating for the wellness of all people willing to listen. And we're not here to claim that we are tech savvy and, we're going to work with what we got. So that being said, we are in Sonia's beautiful home in her backyard. So you will hear the real authentic nature going on. So, enjoy the birds that are very excited to be on the show.
They are. They keep coming to the fountain to say hi.
So if you hear an airplane, people, this is the real deal. All right. We're not trying to sugarcoat it. So that being said, we're just going to do a real quick breathing exercise and then revisit continuing the conversation we started with the last episode, talking about the importance of taking small actions to improve your physical health that will ultimately influence your mental health and your emotional health to increase your well-beingness and wholeness. So that being said, we'll just take a quick little breathing break just to get us centered and present, because ultimately that's what it is. We are more available to take on life's challenges because these days we're overwhelmed and overcommitted, and just we are borrowing from ourselves in so many different ways, and it's time to kind of take a moment for ourselves. So that being said, Sonia.
So I think this breathing exercise, what we're going to do is we're not going to count, but we will ground our feet, sitting straight up, pulling our shoulders back, and we're going to inhale and we're going to fill up our diaphragm, and then we're going to completely empty it. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to start your inhale in and exhale, and inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale, and let me hear you blow it out. Oh, all the way out. Exhaling all the stale air out of your diaphragm so that you can, are you lightheaded? I'm lightheaded.
A little bit, because getting that all out.
Bringing all that oxygen in. Presence of oxygen is a beautiful thing. It helps us be more focused, aware, and alert.
And that lightheadedness is because you've been depriving yourself of oxygen, and it's basically acclimating itself. So getting oxygen to the brain is going to support you in being more relaxed, being more clear-minded, and gives you the ability to be more focused and present. So you're going to hear those terms often on this show, so get used to it. It's a good place to be when you're able to experience that, because at some point, once you get to a place in your journey, you will start to realize that when you are truly present, that you experience the world from a much higher perspective, a much higher point of view, and you can notice miracles so much easier, right? So that's kind of every day, man. It's like, not trying to brag, but it's pretty magic. So let's pick up the conversation where we left off. We were talking about the importance of, the rhythms of the body and the seasons of the body and the foods that we eat. So we didn't get a chance to really touch on that the last time. So we'll get into that. But before we do, I want to continue where you had touched on the thyroid and how the body really is able to detox, and like kind of the interaction in that respect. Can you shed a little bit of light for the audience?
Yeah, so that fight or flight hormone, our cortisol hormones, as it directs our thyroid, and our thyroid regulates our metabolism. So it's really, really important for women. I know there's so many women, a lot of my clients as well, that have had their thyroid removed. right? So they have layers on top of layers, right? So now how do they maintain a healthy body, and not only a healthy body, but feeling good in their body, and not feeling, I get this from my clients all the time, going, I feel so square, like I don't have a shape. I'm shapeless. And that mindset, I feel like, I feel in here, it's like, no, there is something you can do about that, and kind of jump starting your metabolism. And yes, those people have to use medication. And so how do we do that and support ourselves when we're having to do one thing, and then we've made choices to have surgeries, and then how do we look beyond that? So how to give you hope, there is hope that you can. And our thyroid also helps with enzymes that are in our gut. So I call it this, it's the first brain. Some people call it your second brain, your gut, and your brain being the first brain, but it's actually backwards. Your first brain is your gut, that then tells your brain up here what to do. And so we have this really delicate lining, this neuro ecosystem that lines the gut lining of our stomach, that sends direct signals to our brain, telling our brain if we are in fight or flight, telling our brain if we're happy, if we're sad, if we're over-toxified, if we've had too much alcohol, too much caffeine, too much sugar. Those things break down that very delicate lining. That's where it all starts. When that lining is disrupted or have perforations in it, all kinds of things happen. Our digestion, we get bloaty, gassy, pains under our ribs. We get numbness in our right leg, or pains in our right leg. We get pains in our lower back. These are all signs of that system being out of sync. And it's so important that that gets healed. And there's multiple ways of doing this. And you know, we could do this with probiotics, and probiotics isn't for everyone. And it's very wild how we get stuck on one certain thing, and now it's like the new thing everybody should do is, you know, probiotics or the keto diet or whatever.
Stop it.
I am asking you to look at this as an individual. Pay attention to your body. What is your body saying? Do you get, within 20 minutes of eating, do you feel pressure? Do you get gassy? Do you get bloated? Do you feel like your energy is low in the morning? Or do you have this crash at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon? This all means something, right? Yeah. It means that your hormones are out of whack. And for women, we have a cycle. We have a 28-day cycle that our body prepares us for. And on top of having this wonderful cycle that only us get to have.
I love mine. I love mine. I am happy every time that I get it. I used to not love it, but now I just understanding how important it is in our lives, especially as women, and you know, value it, stop fighting it. Yeah. I know women, like, you know, the birth control pills, all of these things that they take to suppress what their body is naturally meant to do. We're not telling you to do that or not to do that, but we just want to kind of invite you to have a different perspective on how you view your body and what it's naturally designed to do. It has a purpose, right? It really has a very valuable purpose, and there's a lot of things that cycle will also indicate in your health and well-being. So that's not the show for today, but love your cycle is my message.
Love it. And your hormones working adequately, what that looks like in your body is if you're over 50 or you're in post-menopause, pre-menopausal, you're having hot flashes, you're having the night sweats, you're having all of this, you know, extensive dryness on our skin and in our body. All these things happen because our body is not yet able to absorb all the nutrients from the foods that we need to eat. And so when I talked in the previous podcast about it has to happen in phases. First, you have to deplete and detox all of the toxicities that are in your system with food, not by juicing, so that your body is then able to be able to absorb the nutrients from your food. So even if you got a new diet and your doctor says eat healthy and eat low carb and take out the sugar and you're still not losing weight, well, this is why. Your body needs to be cleaned out. You can eventually start to lose weight, and your metabolism can support you and love you, and your thyroid can support and love you as well. If you are making sure that you are always on top of it in a way that you are listening and supporting your system.
Okay, and we're back. So we had to move, as you can see, we have the garden care team come over and do their thing. So we had to move it inside. It's really loud. So, you know, forgive it. Like I said, we're not about the whole technical savvy thing. It's all good. We're going to work with what we got. Continuing from where we left off, Sonia was talking about the lining of the gut and the hormones.
Yeah, so and just understanding that we have a choice. We can make a difference. We can get our body to start working for us again. Just don't give up on your body. I don't know about you, but when I am I'm frustrated, it's not, nothing happens in a straight line, right? We have to learn as we go, and we have to adjust, and the same thing happens with our body when we are trying to stay on top of our health. If we've tried one thing and it didn't work, don't give up. There is another way to go about it. And so how I teach is that we clean out our body, we detox our system, and then we start adding in foods that support, right, our thyroid, or support our gut health, or support our liver, whatever it is that you are needing specifically for you. So it's not a diet, and it's not about taking, you know, butter and carbs and all of these things out, because if your body type and blood type lends towards needing those things, that's important for you to know. When we're dealing with our thyroid and those cortisol hormones, the elements that we need, our vitamins and minerals, are things like iodine and selenium, like that you get from Brazilian nuts, right? That's usually the deficiency that goes along with thyroid. And usually those people have some kind of anemic anemia that shows up in their body as well. And we can get iron from our kelp and our sea vegetables, and there's snacks that you can eat, or seaweed that you can crumble on top of your soups and put on top of your salads. Like I said, the Brazilian nuts, that's the fastest way to start to regulate any kind of anxiety and depression. So it heals that gut lining of the stomach, and it tells the brain that everything is okay. So again, everything happens there first. Your dopamine and the serotonin in your body, your feel-good hormones, and your happy, your mood stabilizing hormones, over between 80 and 92% of it is built in the gut lining of the stomach, not the brain.
So think of your gut lining as the ozone layer on the planet. Okay? The more damage you do by eating dead food, like processed foods, chips, cookies, flours like breads, and all of these different things. We're not telling you, you know, again, we are the opposite of telling you don't do or do something. We are informing you to support you, but we want to inform you that those are all the different things. Sodas, right? Caffeine, coffees, all of those things are causing, over time, little holes in your gut lining, right? So it's like what is, I mean, if you're in California, if you've ever visited California and you've taken that right, like that airplane into the airport, especially during the summer when the smog, the layer is just pretty nasty. You can see there's like this big layer of brown.
Yeah.
And above it is the blue, right? So I want you to look at it in that context, because it's like, that's what we're doing inside our bodies. And this is why we're saying advocate for yourselves. Take responsibility for the choices that you're making. You know, if you're going to choose to do one thing or another, take responsibility, and we're just asking you to make small changes to choose better where you can.
That's right.
Right, where you can. You know, because not when you've spent an entire lifetime doing it a certain way that hasn't been healthy, and nobody educated you that what's healthy and what wasn't. That, and for many, unfortunately, in our country and around the world, people have to eat what they can afford, right? So, you know, but there are ways to eat better in those arenas as well. Okay,
right.
So we can make better choices everywhere, regardless of the circumstances. And what Sonia was saying earlier, it's like if you make one small change that is conscious, that you choose to say, you know what, now I have this information, I can't unknow it, right? Like I can't unsee this, I can't unknow it. So can I help myself, even just a fraction? A small change can send a ripple.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
And to make a bigger impact. And that's all we're asking of anybody in our audiences, whether it's in your mindset, it's in your physical health, in certain behaviors. Small changes.
Can I tell you a story on the small
Absolutely.
change? So I have a client, and I'm not going to give you her name, but she said I could share this story. So she didn't believe that she can make the changes just yet. And so I asked her, I said, for 2 weeks, I want you to do one thing. And she chose to have the 16 ounces of water in the morning, first thing in the morning, before she woke up. So she did that for 2 weeks. She came back, and she was in a body that was called insulin resistance. And she could not lose weight. She could not lose weight whatsoever. So she was like, that is just, I can't believe, you know, I'm paying you to tell me to drink water, right? So for 2 weeks, I said, just tell me you're going to do it every day. So she did. In 2 weeks, she came back and she lost 2.5 pounds. And she was like, I don't know, maybe I was doing something and I was, you know, stressed out and I missed a couple of meals. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not trying to make a believer out of you. You're going to have to convince yourself. So I said, now for the next 2 weeks, this is what I'm going to have you do. Before you put anything in your mouth, I don't care if it's a Snickers bar. We're not condoning it. I'm not asking you to do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. So I'm just saying, have a full glass of water before you do it. So it starts to show you this rhythm and this pattern of your behavior habits. So she, towards the end of the 2 weeks, was like, oh my God, I don't want to drink all that water. I must not really want that, so I'm not going to eat it. But she ate everything, pizza, pasta, you name it, desserts. And she had one big glass of water before she ate something, and she had those 2 glasses of water in the morning. When she came back 2 weeks later, so it's like now 4 weeks now, right? We're at 4 weeks. She had lost a total of 13 pounds. Yeah, because the body is no longer fighting itself. It's no longer fighting for its life, because your body, the intelligence in the body is designed to protect you, to keep you from harm. But it also creates memory of the things that you're doing to it. So when there's something new introduced, even if it's healthy, it's going to resist it, right? For at least 2 weeks. For at least 2 weeks. That's why it's like, you know, having to put things into place for a minimum of 2 weeks. Why they say 21 days creates a brand new habit. That's right. Well, why? Because it's creating a new memory. So your brain is wiring and firing differently, right? And you know, you can do that one day, but it has to be sustainable and it has to be created as a new memory. So it's like, that's why it forms a new habit. It's fired that way long enough to where it is a new memory in the body. Okay. So that's why, you know, they call it insulin resistance, because your body literally is resisting the function that it normally has to have, because it feels like it's threatened. Right. Okay. So we're not, again, we don't want you to take these tips and go and hack your lifestyle and cheat the system, because that's doing a disservice to yourself. Okay. We're saying that if you make a conscious choice, and if you have no other choice and you're not prepared yet, that start here with the intention, because we're all about intention, with the intention that you're going to continue to improve your life in such a way, because that will only get you so far, right? That result will only get you so far, and you will hit a plateau that's guaranteed. Is that not correct? Right, absolutely. So, but it does start another habit, right?
Yes.
It starts awareness, because I even use this with the little kids.
Yeah, they're so smart. They're smarter than we are.
They're really smart, but they don't drink enough water. I mean, kids nowadays just don't drink water at all. It's boring, it's plain, I don't like it.
And they're being given juice boxes that have more sugar than an adult male.
Right.
Should consume
in a 24-hour period. So it's having, putting fruit and putting like mint and basil and even rosemary and thyme, cilantro, parsley in our water with our fruit, and have it infused. Stick it in there overnight so it's there for 24 hours so it infuses it. And I do these fun tips. If you don't like water, and you're one of those people that you need a little bit of taste, you can slice an orange up and a vanilla bean and let it sit overnight, and it's like an orange sickle, right?
Love it.
Strawberry with basil.
Ooh, thumbs up on that, guys.
Yeah, pear and cinnamon. I have all kind, watermelon and thyme, watermelon and basil. Just adding to it, you get the bonus of eating the fruit at the end of it. I mean, if you're not a water drinker, there are ways to make your water more tasty. And when you're drinking your water, if you can, please, 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 I get this all the time. Everybody says, my water has to be cold. It has to be ice cold. I have to put a ton of ice in it. No. Try to drink it room temperature, because if not, you will be going to the bathroom every 15 minutes because it's just going in and coming back out. Your body's not even absorbing it.
Yeah, because it has its own body temperature and it shocks the system. And
yeah, well, it can't regulate from your body temperature to what you're putting in. So it's great in the summertime when you're trying to cool yourself off, but understand that you're going to cool yourself off, but you're still going to be dehydrated. You're still going to need water. So even if you're like, I have to have ice, okay, put 2 cubes of ice in your water and store it there, and try to drink it closer to room temperature. Is the best way for your body to absorb what it needs.
Exactly. So that's a huge point, because I think people have that misconception. And if you look at, you know, the Eastern cultures, right? They don't, it's customary for them to have teas, herbal teas, like fresh herbal teas with their meals, rather than drinking anything. And then too, it's probably, isn't it better to drink a half hour before you eat your meal versus you drinking during, because the expansion that occurs when you're
and you turn off the digestive juices in your digestion, but also in your saliva. So your saliva is so important. That's why chewing is so important. And I do this exercise that you're supposed to chew your bite 30 times. I will tell you, there are very few people who chew their bite more than 4. So if you do a little,
I do more than 4.
A little experiment, it's really, really funny. Actually, the number is 3 that keeps coming about. People will chew it like 3 times and then swallow, because they're not being very mindful. And your juices, saliva glands, are there to break down that food so that it's not disrupting that lining of your stomach. It's extremely important to chew until liquefied. So if you're not going to do 30, what I do with my clients is start at 10. Chew it 10 times before you swallow your food. You will get more nutrients. It'll be more absorbable. You won't be so bloaty and gassy. You'll fill up faster. You'll eat less. There's so many layers to actually chewing. You start to stimulate your taste buds, which then doesn't make your digestion have to do it all, because as we know, good and bad bacteria grows in the gut lining of our stomach, depending on if we're supporting our system with our foods. So this is our first line of defense of breaking down our food and digesting our food. And so make sure that you're absolutely chewing your food properly.
And I tell my kids this: your stomach doesn't have teeth, so chew it before it gets there. Yeah, It's going to be quite helpful. So we hope that you found a lot of value in what we shared in these 2 episodes, because these are the things that we have not been taught how to do, or more importantly, why we need to.
Why we need to.
Why we need to. So this is kind of like our gift to you guys, is that we give you a lot of the whys, because I know that both of us, like I've been going to alternative practitioners since I was a kid. I mean, we have good family friends that are you know, very significant influencers in the medical field in China, and you know, and in Ayurveda and all these different things. So we've been exposed to that in my family, and it's made all the difference. But going to doctors, even alternative doctors, I would always have questions, and I'd be like, well, why does it work that way? And how come, you know, I need to do that? Or why are you giving me this medication versus that medication? And it was that questioning that I really invite all of you to do. And part of being mindful is not just doing it because somebody tells you to, right? We give you this information, we advocate for you to bring things to your awareness so that you can ask better questions. How do you support yourself? We're very committed to looking at how we are so unique and individual, and that shows up in our physical expression, our the way we sound in the world, right? Like every one of us has our own unique sound that is perfectly ours because it's meant to be heard in a certain way, right? Like in an orchestra, you have many instruments, and I see that we're all the same way, and our body operates in that same fashion, where you know we're very dynamic, we're multidimensional, and there's many layers to us. So you know, I know that's a lot in one breath, but just look at yourself differently. Appreciate the extraordinary thing that is going on every single day. That you have a body, and gratitude attitude is one of the most powerful healing tools that you can have, because your mind influences your body. It's just that, like I shared in one of the previous episodes, it's like in neurology, they said how by the time we're 35, our body becomes the conscious mind, because we've been doing habits and patterns for that long that they've now been hard-coded like a hard drive in a computer. So even if you decide to make conscious changes, if you make a decision to say, hey, I'm gonna do this differently. I know that every time I do this, this is how it hurts me. I'm gonna do it different. It's hard for you to do it different because your body's now driving the bus, right? So why we want you to create that new habit and do it for at least 2 weeks is to create that new habit, okay? So we are excited that you have joined us. We hope that you really enjoyed the episode. Thank you for being patient with us with all the technical issues, but I think it drove home the point of like being flexible. Be flexible, because life is gonna throw things at you, but if you stick with it because it matters, you will create the success that you're looking for, right? The easy way out is giving up. But you matter and you're worth it. So we really hope that you do. Share with us, you know, what was your aha moment? What supported you? What new thing did you learn that you didn't know? What was cleared up for you? Because some of the things is the misinformation.
And what do you want to know?
And what do you want to know?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
share below your thoughts of maybe something that you're interested in. You are the CEO of your own body. So make sure that you are making the choices for you, and maybe there's some misinformation that you heard and you want cleared up. Share that with us, and I would be more than happy to address it in one of our podcasts.
Absolutely. And if we don't know, we're very much committed to bringing people who can fill in any gaps. And like I said, we're not the end all be all, but we're here to support you with the wisdom and learning that we have acquired from our own learnings, our own experiences, and our own journeys, correct? So join us on Facebook, hearts, thumbs up, share alike. The more we get the word out, the more people are educated and making changes for themselves that support them. And also, you know, be part of our community. It's so much better when you're in a tribe of people who get you, who understand you, who are on the same journey. And we have mindfulness programs if you're in the LA area for businesses that we're really excited to get off the ground. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And, you know, just say hello. Awesome. Happy blessings, everyone, and see you next week.
Until next time.